Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock. Let's go over what is happening in the market today. Let's talk about what I think will happen next with Tesla moving forward for the rest of the week and all of that good stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, as per usual, if you enjoy, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my videos, analysis, etc., I do have a membership section on YouTube. That link is down below. For just $3 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis, options flows sometimes as well on mainly Tesla, but I've been actually posting a lot of other stocks lately. Today I've been posting about Snapchat, TSM, for instance, Disney and Starbucks that I was posting about a few days ago. You can see have already started breaking out. Boeing. So yeah, I've been posting other stocks as well. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that I just said, plus NVIDIA daily updates. But let's just jump into it. Tesla with another astronomical day, closing above 9% on the day, closing at $350 per share, we'll just say, which obviously compared to the market is going to be a little bit of an outperformance. Now, what does this mean moving forward? So Tesla obviously squeezing. The stock is absolutely squeezing. It is absolutely destroying shorts, etc., etc., etc. I think we all know that, right? This is just an absolute massive squeeze. So let me just get the obvious out of the way. I know this is the part that the bulls hate the most, but I will just continue saying this until it's no longer the case. We are exceptionally overbought. There's really no other way to put it. We're overbought. We are so overbought that I don't remember the last time this stock was this far away from even the uppermost part of the bands. It's extreme. This is an extreme overbought scenario. Again, that doesn't mean this is the top. It doesn't mean it has to stop, rallying from here. That's not what overbought means. Overbought just simply means that, well, the more it gets overbought, the less the risk versus reward becomes. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily bearish or anything like that. It just talks about risk versus reward because you're buying at a very elevated price short term, as opposed to, for instance, maybe buying at a very under elevated, I don't know, very cheap, if you will, price, for instance, when it's at the bottom range of the band. Just that simple. So take that for what it's worth. But, it's interesting to note the fact that even the weekly is now getting into these extreme levels, right? The weekly rarely gets into these extreme levels. The only other time it's gotten into these extreme levels over the last, what was this, back in 2023, was pretty much back when it had the bottom at around $100 per share. Very extreme oversold. Now it's very extreme overbought. Again, do that information what you will. I will just continue saying that until it's no longer the case. And even the monthly is now entering the second stage of overbought. So again, do that information what you will. But the RSI, you can see, is also peeking its head into areas that we haven't seen on the RSI and the monthly chart since we had that initial squeeze all the way to pretty much all-time highs a few years ago. Again, all-time overbought does not mean bearish. It does not mean this is the top. It does not mean it has to crash. It's all about risk versus reward. So again, I will continue saying that until that's no longer the case. Now, let's get this out of the way for now, and let's talk about what this actually means on the daily chart. So the daily chart is obviously looking still, there's no denying that it looks bullish, right? Despite it being really overbought, it's very bullish because we're just simply, Tesla is a freight train squeezing every single bear that's, even remotely dares to be short or has been short. It's bullish. There's no question about that. Now, today we did actually print a daily, somewhat of a doji candle, right? Now it's a bit of a long-legged doji candle, right? Where you can see it's kind of open and closes pretty much almost the same with long wicks above and below. Now, long-legged doji candles usually mean, for most people from what I've seen, usually take this as a potential reversal signal. In fact, I actually don't view this as a reversal signal. This is more of just a simply indecision signal. It's neither bullish nor bearish. It just shows that the stock is finally entering some areas where it's not really sure where it wants to go next. For instance, if I bring it out over here, you can see bullish, theoretical performance indecision, Tesla performance, bullish continuation 51% of the time. So again, pretty much 50-50, right? It's showing neither bullish or bearish momentum. It's just showing that it doesn't know what it wants to do. So my prediction on this is the fact that tomorrow, if I had to take a guess, I believe tomorrow we will essentially print an inside day candle where tomorrow's overall trading range will be contained within the overall trading range that we had today. That inside day candle, assuming we print it tomorrow, should in theory give us a little bit of an easier tell and read moving forward, because if you do print an inside day candle tomorrow, then it's simply breaking above or below that inside day range, let's say on Wednesday, should yield that next overall move forward, essentially, whether that's up or down. So watch for that moving forward, and that's kind of my current prediction. But as it stands right now, Tesla upside target remains to be $364 per share. Breaking above that should yield $385, and breaking above that should start yielding us $400, followed by all-time highs. So those are the main levels of the upside. The main levels of the downside are going to be pretty simply put all the way back down to about 325, which obviously had us, a little bit of a resistance, which also will be the channel breakout support, because we did break out of this channel. So I would naturally expect this channel to now act as a support. If we make our way back down to about the 325-ish area, that should act as a pretty powerful support. If we do lose that, however, I do believe that ultimately we will make our way most likely pretty quickly to at the very least 300. But ideally, I still ultimately want to see an overall retest at some point. I don't know when, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month. I don't know when, but I still want to see an ultimate retest of about that 270 to 280 range, which sounds impossible right now. I know that sounds like, man, it'll never go back there ever again, because even that alone is about a 20, okay, maybe not 25, but it is about a 20% drop, which sounds insane, right? It sounds like there's no way that'll happen. But again, the way I personally look at it is when you had such a massive area of massive resistance for this long, it's extremely uncommon, not impossible, but extremely uncommon for the stock to not eventually retest that range at some point or another. In my opinion, the first signs of this potentially being an actual reality is if we start closing below $325-ish per share and essentially back inside that channel, because then this could be essentially a false breakout. And I think we would see a very quick move back down at least to 300, if not to 285. But as long as we do not close back within this channel, and if we do come back down here and we take 325-ish and we turn it into a support and we do not close below, Tesla is still screaming bullish, right? It's still screaming bullish. It's still screaming, that it wants to obliterate shorts, bears, etc. And I see no reason to be even remotely short the stock, unless at the very least you see those kind of cracks, right? So I'll be kind of waiting to see those kind of cracks. I'm not going to be short in the stock, but that's when I'll start getting interested once again in the stock and kind of trading it a little bit more aggressively. Because right now, in my opinion, it is a little bit elevated. It is a very high risk trade up at these levels, from my personal opinion, of course. So that's why I'm not very interested in it personally right here. And I have been actually starting to trim even my long-term holdings. And if you do end up rallying all the way up to 365 and especially 384, I will begin selling cover calls on my long-term portfolio. As of right now, though, I did trim only, and the rest I'm holding just to potentially get an opportunity to sell some very juicy covered calls. Now, that's kind of the basic idea of Tesla, I guess, if I had to take a look at it. Now, don't forget, this week we have CPI inflation on Wednesday, and we have PPI on Thursday. We have jobless on Thursday, and we have retail sales and manufacturing on Friday. Some pretty decent data points coming in throughout the week today. So, for better or for worse, that can potentially influence that. But yeah, that's just kind of what I'm seeing on Tesla. Again, the stock is extremely elevated. It is what it is. It doesn't mean that this has to be the top and this is necessarily bearish. It just, to me, tells me that the risk reward up here is not ideal compared to, for instance, back when the RSI was around these levels and the stochastic was around these levels. You know what I mean? It's just that simple, really. And that's just kind of how the way, I look at it, right? So yeah, with all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below. If you have any questions, link it down below as well. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. In terms of options flow, Tesla is of course still in the most bullish flow, 13 million confirmed bullish flow today. And obviously throughout the day, we definitely had more bullish than bearish flow throughout the day. There's no question about it. Definitely some bearish flow came in, but the bulls are still absolutely overwhelming the bears. I think there is no question, about that. And yeah, that's just kind of the way I look at it. So watch for those levels. And in my opinion, probably the most important thing to watch for Tesla is whether or not we print an inside day candle tomorrow. And if we do, watch for a break in the upper or lower direction of that. So let's say, just as an example, tomorrow we print an inside day candle, and let's say tomorrow's highest range was, I don't know, let's just say 355, and the lowest range was, let's say, 340. Well, the day after that, Wednesday, watch for a break above 355 or 340, and then we most likely will continue in that respective direction, whether that's up or whether that's down. And if we end up going to the downside, in my opinion, watch for 325 as the first major level, because I think this really needs to get defended. Because if we lose 325, I think Tesla starts showing cracks in its bullish thesis and momentum. And I think that's where the bears are going to start sniffing out an opportunity, which will then send Tesla ultimately down to 300, which that also should hold. If it doesn't, we make our way down to the next one, which will be about 380 to 370 roughly, which that really needs to hold. In my opinion, Tesla only gets bearish if we start losing pretty much 280 to 270. If we start losing that range, I think Tesla actually will start turning bearish. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd be pretty surprised if it happens, but obviously not impossible. So in my opinion, that will ultimately become the most important level if and when we do actually get there. But as of right now, like I said, it's a very bullish stock. It is essentially just straight up short squeezing, despite being exceptionally overbought. That doesn't mean it has to stop anytime soon. As far as I'm aware, now you know the kind of things I'm looking for any potential cracks in the bullish thesis. Watch for those as well. But yeah, all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.